Welcome back to PaleoMechanics. There is a specific profound heaviness that many of you experience the moment your feet touch the floor in the early morning. A deep, rigid stiffness gripping the lower back, whispering a relentless and discouraging lie that this is simply the inescapable cost of growing older. We have heavily conditioned by modern convenience and a heavily commercialized wellness industry inevitably steals our physical sovereignty. To believe, but I am here to tell you, as a researcher of evolutionary history, that time itself is not your adversary. The true thief of your vitality is sitting quietly right inside your living room. Look closely at the modern plush recliner, the heavily marketed ergonomic office chair, the deeply cushioned, oversized sofa. These industrial creations are meticulously engineered to sell you the illusion of ultimate rest. We willingly pay thousands of dollars to sink into these synthetic fabrics, believing we are offering our hard-working, aging joints a well-deserved sanctuary. Yet, beneath the surface of this manufactured comfort, a silent theft of your mobility is occurring. You are not actually resting. You are engaging in a forced, prolonged hibernation of your body's most vital biological engine. To understand this modern tragedy, we must look inward. We must examine a fascinating structure known as the Psoas major, often referred to by classical anatomists as the muscle of the soul. The psoas is the only muscular bridge connecting your upper body directly to your lower body. It originates at the very base of your spine, travels deep through the protective bowl of your pelvis, and attaches firmly to the top of your thigh bone. In the realm of structural tensegrity, a scientific term meaning the continuous, balanced tension that keeps a physical architecture upright, much like the rigid masts and taut cables of a grand sailing ship. The psoas is your primary suspension cable. When this biological cable is perfectly balanced, it is a true masterpiece of ancestral joint mechanics, allowing you to stand tall with undeniable authority and grace. For hundreds of thousands of years, our resilient ancestors walked across vast, unforgiving continents. Every single long stride they took acted as a brilliant biological spring, constantly extending, lengthening, and releasing this magnificent cable. They maintained a state of permanent biomechanical optimization simply by interacting with the earth. But modern society has aggressively redesigned our environment, placing us in a 90-degree mechanical trap for 10 to 12 hours every single day. When you sit in that deeply cushioned chair, you are literally folding this powerful biological spring in half. And this is precisely where a fundamental, unforgiving rule of nature takes over. A principle known in the scientific community as Wolff's law. Wolff's law dictates that your biological tissues will adapt specifically and structurally to the exact demands placed upon them over time. In simpler terms, your body is a brilliant, highly efficient architect that constantly remodels your internal framework based on your daily habits and resting position. If you hold your psoas in a shortened, folded position day after day, year after year, your body assumes this seated posture is your new permanent reality. It literally rebuilds the muscle tissue to be shorter, tighter, and substantially denser. It transforms your psoas from a dynamic, elastic spring into a rigid, unforgiving anchor. So when you finally attempt to stand up after hours of sinking into the sofa, that shortened anchor pulls aggressively on the front of your lower spine. The intense discomfort you feel radiating across your lower back is not an issue with the back itself. It is the front of your spine being relentlessly pulled forward by this shortened hip flexor. The industrial complex will eagerly sell you back supports, topical creams, and specialized massage therapies targeting the posterior chain. But they are merely treating the echo. The root cause is locked deep within your pelvis. We must not accept this decline. Reclaiming physical independence begins with a small but profound shift in how we navigate these modern environments. We need an actionable bridge to transition from passive decay back to active mobility preservation. During your very next session of sitting, I want you to try this. Instead of sinking backward into the cushions, slide forward to the very edge of your chair. Plant your feet firmly on the earth. When it is time to rise, do not lean heavily forward and pull your torso up with your lower back. Instead, push directly down through your heels and drive your hips forward into the space in front of you. Stand tall and gently squeeze your glutes at the very top of the movement. This simple, deliberate action will immediately signal your body to rebuild. It begins to wake up dormant muscles and introduces a gentle, highly necessary lengthening to the psoas. You are taking the first crucial step in postural realignment, reminding your central nervous system of its glorious, upright heritage. You regain your stability not through exhaustion, but through mindful mechanics. The mattress and ergonomic chair industries promise to perfectly support your back, wrapping you in unparalleled modern luxury. But why does that highly engineered support systematically shut down the very neural network designed to protect your pelvis? The secret lies in a fascinating biomechanical law that the comfort industry deeply hopes you never discover. We left off with a question that challenges the very foundation of the modern ergonomic industry. Why does sitting in a perfectly supportive, heavily engineered chair slowly dismantle the structural integrity of your lower back? The answer is rooted in an elegant, built-in safety mechanism of the human nervous system. This is what biomechanics experts call reciprocal inhibition. To understand it, think of your body as a highly sophisticated internal electrical switchboard. When you activate a muscle on one side of a joint to pull it forward, your brain must automatically send a signal to the muscle on the exact opposite side to relax and let go. If it did not do this, your joints would lock up entirely, unable to produce fluid movement. However, the modern industrial environment has inadvertently weaponized this brilliant biological safety switch against you. When your psoas major, the massive hip flexor at the front of your pelvis, is perpetually locked in a shortened state by endless hours on a deep sofa, that internal switchboard gets permanently jammed. Your brain receives a constant, unrelenting signal that the front of your body is actively engaged in a deep, intentional contraction. As a direct, inescapable result, your nervous system flips the switch completely off for the muscles on the back of your body. Your glutes, the largest and most powerful stabilizers of your ancestral joint mechanics, are essentially forced into a deep, involuntary hibernation. Maintained ancestors' magnificent upright posture well into their twilight years because their glutes and lower back muscles were fiercely active, firing with every step to keep the spine stacked vertically. They enjoyed the profound, lifelong benefits of constant mobility preservation. But today, because of that continuous forced relaxation triggered by the shortened psoas, the muscles supporting your spine literally begin to forget how to fire. They weaken not from the natural passage of time, but from severe neurological neglect. You are attempting to stand tall and practice postural realignment with an engine that the modern world has forcibly powered down. The devastating effects of a shortened psoas do not stop at mere structural imbalance. This vital biological cable shares an intimate physical connection with your diaphragm, the primary muscle responsible for drawing oxygen into your lungs. Furthermore, it is deeply intertwined with your autonomic nervous system. When humans face an apex predator in the wild, the immediate physiological instinct is to curl inward, powerfully contracting the psoas to protect the vital organs in the abdomen. This is the ancient evolutionary trigger known as the fight or flight response. It is a primal alarm system designed to save your life in brief moments of acute threat. Now, imagine what happens when your resting environment, your car seat, your dining chair, your luxury recliner, artificially mimics this exact physical posture of curling inward. Your rigidly contracted psoas is relentlessly sending a false survival alert straight up the spinal cord to your brain. You are signaling to your central nervous system that you are in constant pain, even while safely reading a book in your living room. This chronic, low-grade stress loop dramatically alters your breathing pattern, making it shallow and frantic, continuously draining the essential restorative energy you need to reclaim your vitality. We must sever this false neurological loop. We must signal your body to rebuild and reassure your nervous system that it is safe to let go. Here is your actionable bridge for today. A small but profound shift you can make immediately. Stand beside a sturdy chair or a kitchen counter to secure absolute stability. Take one foot and step it directly backward, keeping the heels slightly elevated and your chest perfectly upright. Gently, very gently, tuck your tailbone underneath you until you feel a soft, subtle opening across the front of that back hip. Breathe deeply into your belly while holding this upright stance. This simple, graceful movement begins to wake up dormant muscles, sending a powerful message of biomechanical optimization back to your brain. It proves that reclaiming physical independence is always within your grasp. Yet millions of older adults are diligently attempting to stretch their lower backs every single day to find relief, completely unaware that they are aggressively pulling on a structural system that is already dangerously weakened. The true thief of your posture is not located on your back. It is lurking much deeper. For generations, millions of individuals seeking relief from morning stiffness have instinctively turned to conventional stretching routines, attempting to aggressively bend forward and pull on their lower back. It is a well-intentioned effort driven by the desire to alleviate the tightness that settles deep within the spine after a night of poor resting posture. Yet, from the perspective of evolutionary biomechanics, this approach is fundamentally flawed. When you stretch your lower back while ignoring the severe contraction happening at the front of your pelvis, you are essentially pulling on the wrong end of a taut architectural cable. You are placing dangerous, unmitigated tension on ligaments that are already desperately crying out for stability. To understand why this traditional method so often falls short, we must examine the concept of fascial plasticity, the remarkable ability of your body's connective tissue network to remodel and lengthen under the right mechanical cues. Think of your fascial network as a finely woven web of high-tensile fabric that wraps around every single muscle fiber from your shoulders down to your toes. When you spend decades sitting in deeply cushioned environments, this web adapts. tightening specifically around the hip flexors, while thinning and weakening along the posterior chain. Bending blindly forward only stretches the weakened fabric, leaving the core constraint completely untouched. Consider the physical reality of our ancestors. They did not possess specialized gym memberships, ergonomic office chairs, or memory foam mattresses. Their daily existence demanded constant navigation across unpredictable landscapes. Every step they took relied on physiological gait mechanics, the natural, unhindered movement of the human body moving fluidly through space. In this ancestral stride, the rear leg was allowed to extend fully backward, creating a natural, rhythmic lengthening of the psoas major. This constant mechanical dialogue with the earth kept their internal suspension system supple, strong, and completely free from the chronic stiffness plaguing modern society. Furthermore, this natural movement relies heavily on a vital sensory feedback loop that modern footwear and smooth indoor flooring have systematically severed. This is your body's internal GPS, what scientists call proprioception. Proprioception is the continuous, silent communication between the tiny nerve receptors in your central nervous joints and your central nervous system, telling your brain exactly where your body is positioned in space. When you wear heavily padded athletic shoes and walk exclusively on flat, uniform concrete, that internal GPS goes quiet. Your brain loses its spatial awareness, leading to a gradual loss of stability and an increased reliance on external structural supports. We can actively reverse this modern disconnect. We do not need to accept a future defined by a shrinking range of motion or a loss of physical sovereignty. We can return to the foundational mechanics of our lineage right inside our own homes. Here is your actionable bridge for today, designed to awaken your body's innate intelligence without requiring any specialized equipment. During your very next session of movement around the house, I want you to focus entirely on your trailing leg. As you take a step forward, pause for just a fraction of a second before lifting the back foot. Gently press the ball of your back foot into the floor and allow your hip to open naturally, feeling a subtle, comfortable lengthening across the front of your pelvis. This is not a strenuous exercise. It is a mindful re-education of your nervous system. By performing this intentional step, you signal your body to rebuild its structural harmony. You are waking up dormant muscles that have been put to sleep by years of artificial comfort. You are taking active control of your physical destiny, proving that true strength and stability are timeless attributes waiting to be reclaimed. Every mindful step you take is a quiet rebellion against the industrial systems that seek to commodify your physical decline. By honoring the ancestral mechanics built into your biological blueprint, you lay the foundation for enduring freedom of movement. But as we continue down this path of discovery, we must realize that protecting your physical independence involves more than just opening up the front of your pelvis. There is another hidden vulnerability in your structural architecture, a network of deep, vital spinal cables that is quietly dissolving under the weight of an comfortable lifestyle. What is this hidden habit? And why is it so closely tied to the future of your mobility? The journey to reclaim your physical independence does not begin in a sterile clinical setting, nor does it require a cabinet full of heavily marketed synthetic supplements. It begins with a profound shift in perspective. You must realize that your body, this magnificent biological time machine you inhabit, has not failed you. It has simply been adapting, exactly as it was designed to do, to an environment that no longer demands its greatness. By understanding the deep, primal mechanics of the psoas major, you take the crucial first step in rewriting the narrative of your own mobility. We look back at our ancestors not with mere nostalgia, but with a deep respect for their biomechanical optimization. They lived in a constant state of structural tensegrity, a perfect, continuous balance of mechanical tension and compression. Because their daily lives demanded movement that nourished every fiber of their being, we cannot time travel, but we can absolutely recreate their mechanical environment within our modern walls. It is about intentionally rejecting the silent theft orchestrated by oversized sofas, deeply cushioned recliners, and footwear that dulls your vital connection to the earth beneath you. This is the true essence of mobility preservation. It is a mindful practice of undoing the artificial constraints placed upon your skeletal framework. Every time you choose to sit on the edge of your chair, keeping your pelvis in a neutral, active state, you are staging a quiet rebellion. Every time you execute a mindful step, allowing your trailing leg to extend and gently stretch the front of your hip, you are sending a powerful signal to your central nervous system. You are telling your brain that the forced hibernation is officially over. Remember the actionable bridge we have built together today. When you rise from your chair during your very next session, do not pull your torso forward with a compromised lower back. Instead, push firmly through your heels and drive your hips gracefully into the space in front of you. Stand tall and gently squeeze your glutes. Reclaim your stability. This single, deliberate action is a physical declaration of your enduring strength. It is the practical application of Wolff's law in your favor, commanding your body to rebuild its tissues for resilience rather than submission. As you integrate these small but profound shifts into your daily routine, you will begin to notice a remarkable transformation. The rigid stiffness that once greeted you every morning will gradually give way to a forgotten sense of lightness and ease. The muscle of the soul, once tightly wound and perpetually fearful, will remember its true purpose as a dynamic biological spring. You will walk with a renewed sense of authority, firmly grounded in the ancient wisdom of your own anatomy. But our journey into the preservation of your structural integrity is far from complete. Today, you have learned how to awaken the psoas and liberate your lower back from the mechanical trap of the modern office chair. However, the battle for your physical independence is fought on multiple fronts, and the tightening of your hip flexors is only half of the story. There is another, deeply insidious process occurring within the very core of your back, while you enjoy the luxurious comfort of your inactive lifestyle. It is quietly dissolving the intricate network of suspension cables that keep your vertebrae stacked vertically and proud. This hidden phenomenon is known as multifidus atrophy, the literal melting away of the vital stabilizing muscles that run along the deepest layers of your spine. While you rest comfortably on the sofa, these essential cables are being dismantled, fiber by fiber, leaving your spinal column incredibly vulnerable. What is this seemingly harmless daily habit that accelerates this structural decline? And why is it the most direct pathway to surrendering your mobility entirely by the age of 70? Join me in our next documentary session as we uncover the dark truth behind your spinal cable and learn exactly how to rebuild them.